And this is the EAPC, which is a quite large organization. I think it's about 60,000 caregivers all across Europe who are more or less part of this big network. And the reason why I want to show it is just to show you some of the possibilities that we have. When we have this network, we have a lot of university and people who are really cooperative, because it seems that spiritual care is a thing that's really very much alive within the EAPC. Where did it start, the task force idea? Well, it started in Vienna, 2009. Joep van der Geer, who was a chaplain in the north of the Netherlands, and myself, we've been friends for a long time, and we were in Vienna, and we were kind of surprised that at such a large conference, I think there were about 2,000 people and many, many workshops and things, there was so little, relatively little attention to the fourth pillar of palliative care, spiritual care. And one of the sessions, you went to Peter Speck, who was one of the persons who had the honor of presenting something, and we asked Peter, would it be a good idea to have a task force on this issue? Because it's strange that there is so little attention and so little coherence. There are some workshops, but not really coherent. And Peter said, well, I think it's a good idea. Go ahead, good luck. That's how I remember it. And in the plane back, we started sketching some plans and some ideas on how to do this. And we had some money in the Netherlands. It was a long time ago. We had some money to put up a small conference, invited conference of 14 people from 8 countries, and some of them are here also, which I'm very glad of. And at that conference, we kind of made an outline of what we were going to do. And in Lisbon, 2 years later, after Vienna, we started with 34 people of 14 countries, and it's growing all the time. We were in Trondheim at the research conference of the EAPC, and at that time already more than 40 people were a member of our task force. And these are the rich people who managed to go to Norway, which is a very expensive country. Some of them might be familiar to you, because they're also here. And when we were setting up the task force in our first invited meeting in Werkhoven in the Netherlands, we asked the delegates to answer 10 questions. And those questions were about the state of the art in their own country and the things that they'd liked to have paid attention to. And one of the questions was about what is the most urgent need for further development of spiritual care and palliative care. And there already you see that many of them thought that research was one of the urgent needs, demonstrating that spiritual care adds to the quality of care, promoting research done by chaplains and specialists, interfacing research traditions, developing helpful instruments. I think there is a certain continuity between what we are seeing now as important aspects and what was seen then by those pioneers. I think we spent relatively much time at the first working conference to build a kind of a definition, because that's always where you have to start. Where are we talking about? And I think it was a good idea to be inspired by the definition that the Consensus Conference in the United States came up with. So we were very happy that you did some work before us, because when you don't have a kind of framework like this one, it's a very long process, and we only had 2 days to have this this difficult task. So we made a kind of a European version of the American definition. And if you want to know more about it, you can read about it in the Journal of Palliative Care. Steve Nolan wrote an article with the help of some friends about the process and also what's European about this definition. I won't go into detail now on that. And we had some interesting things, ideas from Norway that were also attached to this definition to be sure that it's not too religious or too much focused on certain traditional aspects. Well, what's going on in the task force now? This is you, by the way. A lot. There's a lot going on, and if I look back over the past 2 years, I think we're all working very hardly. What you see here is that we had 5 aims and objectives. I think we cut it down to 3 because we have 3 groups now. One of the groups is led by Lucy Selman and Ian Sterling, who are focusing on research. And I must be honest, the names you see here are only the names on the website because there are more people involved already. So it's not really a good overview. What we did, or what this subgroup did, was making an online questionnaire on which Teresa will report in a few minutes. I think one of the big things that we experienced was the early research awards that was won by Lucy and Trondheim, which put spiritual care really on the map. That was really, I'm very grateful that you won that prize. I mean, you will be also, but it's 3 minutes, yes. It's also, I think, it was very promising to be at a conference that is so much focused on hardcore research by medical people, and to have first prize awards on spiritual care, which is a kind of, I think, an idea that this is the time we have to take this a few steps forwards. And of course the 3 symposia are also very much welcome, because this is a wonderful, I see it from the EAPC perspective as a kind of extension to the work of our group. But of course I don't want to steal any of the things that I've done by King's College here. So, but I think this is a wonderful thing that only makes things going faster, and I hope more deeper. The second group is about education. It's led by Andrew Goodheads of St. Christopher's Hospice, and Charlotte Rosa, who is not here but who is a professor in spiritual care in Germany, in Munich. That group is also working to make an inventory of various education initiatives in Europe, and it tries to build a database like the 𝐃𝐎𝐍𝐻 database in Washington has some things on education, and we try to make a European version of it to make accessible to all people working here. And the third group on implementation is publishing a series of articles in the European Journal of Palliative Care to show how palliative care in different countries is organized and put on the map. And I invite you to read it, because it's interesting to see how different countries approach it, and it's a good way of sharing ideas. Now, as a EAPC representative, I also have 2 obligatory slides to invite you, if any of you knows people who are, I mean, the chance will not be great having won the award last year, but you never know.